The year is 2002, or as I prefer to call it, the year of the sequel. Harry Potter 2, Star Wars 2, Lord of the Rings 2, Men in Black 2, Blade 2, Spy Kids 2, The Santa Claus 2, Stuart Little 2, Peter Pan 2, American Psycho 2, Cinderella 2. Okay, well, maybe if some of these range in quality, but you can't tell me that Hollywood has a sequel problem today. But one original stood alone. One soared the box office ranks, becoming, without question, the best film of 2002. Scooby-Doo. This film is included on the National Film Registry among its inferior titles. Its poster is held within the Louvre itself. It is the highest grossing film of all time, making trillions at the box office, with critics raving about its superior status as the greatest film of all time. Okay, am I the only person that actually likes this film? Is it too late to change the thumbnail and take back all the lies I just spouted about its status? Nah, stuff it. But genuinely, I truly think that this film is an incredible piece of cinema. I'm not joking. The Scooby-Doo cartoon has been around for decades, with each generation experiencing a new version of media from the cartoon that spawned in the late 60s, to the countless spin-offs, the dozens of animated movies, the newer series in the early 2000s that still kept with the themes and tone of the original, and whatever the hell this nightmare-fueled thing is. There really isn't a generation within the last 50 or so years that hasn't had some form of Scooby-Doo. Which is really cool because it's so rare to have a series like this that has spanned this long to have consistent quality over the years. Boy, I wonder what they're doing with the IP now. Oh god, what have they done? Released all the way back in 2002, Scooby-Doo starring Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Matthew Lillard, Linda Cardellini, and written by James Gunn. Yes, the same James Gunn that brought you the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, some of the most complex and creatively stunning superhero films of all time, also wrote this. I am so confused. But you know what? This film does live up to the Guardians movies. Yeah, I'll say it. They've got cute, adorable raccoons. Well, we've got Scrappy-Doo. With it being fairly panned by both critics and audiences, safe to say that people weren't exactly praising this film when it first came out. But back when I was younger, this was one of my go-to watches. So maybe nostalgia has something to do with it, but I will be sure to critique this movie fairly with an open mind. That's probably not going to happen, but we'll just wait and see. Scooby-Doo! This movie begins with the gang on one of their classic mystery-solving adventures in this toy factory, trying to stop a man in a flying ghost costume while he holds Daphne hostage.
Okay, now I really have a wedgie.
Hang on, this wasn't in the original cartoon.
Still after us,
This has got to be one of the most unsafe working conditions I've ever seen. The amount of health and safety regulations here is just absurd. Like, what is even half of this stuff even used for?
Oh man, Smithers! The creepy janitor?
Smithers wanted revenge after you refused to go out with him.
How could you, Pamela? I am a lover boy of George Clooney in proportions.
Man gets rejected and becomes a supervillain with this world-changing technology, and instead of, I don't know, using it to start his own company or become a billionaire, he just decides to run rampant with it. Oh, so most supervillains then. Cool.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids and you dumb dog.
Cool.
I'll get you for this.
Hey, is someone going to bring him down? Also, props to this movie for keeping the original character designs from the cartoon. These actors look like they are ripped straight from the cartoon. You know, this is actually shaping up to be really good so far. It is exactly like the
I quit.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I quit.
Hang on.
Good riddance.
We're like 7 minutes into the movie and the gang have just broken up. I have mixed feelings, but you know what? I'm sure they'll get back together in like the next scene.
I guess we'll all just do what we do best, Scoob.
Pass the dutchie on the left hand side.
Okay, what the hell? Scooby and Shaggy are approached by this guy who works for this other guy who runs a theme park in hopes that they might want to come and solve a mystery for them. And just like that, the gang is back together.
I'm not talking to you guys.
The gang is in the same room.
They don't allow big dogs on the plane.
I love how the airport just accepts all of this. I mean, are you all not seeing this? Although, I guess Scooby is like a really intelligent dog, if you can even like call him a dog, so I guess it's fine. I mean, he's pretty well behaved. I stand corrected. When the gang are on the island, they are met with the island's owner, the creepy, the mysterious, wait, Mr. Bean? Oh my god, what's he doing here? He then explains that strange things are happening on the island where someone or something is brainwashing its visitors. I swear it all makes sense.
We've known each other since we were like 3.
Back off my grill, son!
Carol, what are you doing?
Why does everyone in this movie just accept the most bizarre stuff? I mean, this girl just John Cena this random guy, and everyone in the background's just like, huh. That's weird. So the gang all go their separate ways on the island to try and figure out the mystery. At least, Fred, Velma and Daphne are, I guess. Scooby and Shaggy are hanging out with Shaggy's new girlfriend, named Mary Jane. James, I know what you're doing. I mean, come on. You think this is some whole big coincidence? No, this might have flown past my radar as a kid, but you can't trick me, okay? The writing's on the wall.
I'm Mary Jane.
Like, that is my favorite name.
Really?
Yeah.
Although credit where credit is due, Matthew Lillard just is Shaggy. He was born to play this role and is easily the best character translated from cartoon to live action, no matter what anyone says.
You made me sound like a total space cadet, man.
I'm sorry if you're the way. I was trying to be real to your character.
Although, not gonna lie, Shaggy does sometimes give off vibes that make me feel very uncertain and anxious about him, but actually, you know what? My bad. Wrong franchise.
Surprise, Sydney.
Like, that is my favorite name.
So they all conveniently meet up and explore this haunted castle, but it's actually just an abandoned ride at the park, which, fun fact, is actually a real ride here in Australia on the Gold Coast. I've actually been on this ride before, and it is genuinely really fun. Heck, the whole film was made here in Australia, so I don't know, if you're ever up in the Gold Coast, you should definitely check out the ride. That is, if it's actually open, which it never is.
I'm a man of substance. Dorky chicks like you turn me on too.
Ah, nice save, Freddy.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
And now for our dinner show.
Fred just absolutely crushed this guy, who probably now has like a dozen broken bones. Can we get like someone to check in on that guy? Can we get a follow-up? So Fred and Velma discover that this park is actually home to this brainwashing cult controlled by an evil mastermind who we don't actually know yet, Mr. Bean, who uses this ancient race of creatures that inhabit the island to suck the souls of its guests so they can take over the world. Okay, well sure, it sounds dumb when I explain it. At least the monsters look pretty scary. Okay, yeah, I remember these things looking a lot more scarier when I was a kid. And, you know, real. Well, Fred's gone. Oh, and Velma. Mr. Bean. God. This film's tone is getting really dark. I'm really interested to see where it transpires from here. I'm sure it's going to get a lot more grittier and dark. Oh, wait, no, Sugar Ray's here. Just to remind you that it's 2002. I like how the previous scene is like Fred and Velma getting possessed by demons, quickly followed by this poolside party. I don't know what this film's tone is, but I'm here for it. So Shaggy finds out where they're hiding all of the souls and sets the rest of the gang free so they can find their bodies. But it doesn't exactly go to plan and they end up just crashing into random bodies, and from here the whole movie just goes Freaky Friday.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Honestly, that making it in isn't even much of a surprise considering what they had to cut out, because, boy, you only have to watch the deleted scenes of this movie to know exactly what I mean. This movie was originally going to be rated R, which included Shaggy being a stoner, so I guess not much would have really changed, because either way, he still would have been in love with Mary Jane. Okay, I get it, I'm sorry, it was right there. Velma was going to be a lesbian, with her and Daphne sharing a kissing scene together. It was going to include a bunch of foul language, inappropriate references. It in fact even had to use CGI to cover up some of the outfits to make them more family friendly.
Legend has it, once the Darkopolis ritual is performed, the creatures will rule on Earth for 10,000 years.
They can't do the ritual without a pure human soul. Where in the world are they going to get one of those?
I didn't say human.
Oh boy.
Okay, so hold up. Let me get this straight. Mr. Bean, who is evil now, no surprise, wants to complete a ritual where he sacrifices Scooby-Doo because he has a pure heart so he can take over the world with these CGI monster thingies. Classic Scooby-Doo, am I right? And keep this in mind, this was my introduction to Scooby-Doo. Up until this point, I had never watched any of the cartoons. My first exposure to this was seeing Scooby-Doo die in the climax, which can only be described as confusing, to say the least. Okay, hang on, what? Wait, there's someone behind the mask? Wait, hang on, he was a robot the entire time?
Puppy power!
Hold up.
My
When was
moment
this a
of
thing?
triumph! All I need to complete my transformation is Scooby-Doo!
Can we just slow down?
Like, dude, what? You're a bad puppy.
Wait, what is this? What the f- Well, that was interesting, to say the least. This movie actually did fairly well at the box office, and everyone seemed to really like it. Yep, it's every bit as awful as it looks in the previews. Is this really the sort of entertainment America wants? Zoinks! This is awful! I mean, I liked it. And it's not like the cast didn't try and sell the movie either.
And it was so ahead of its time. It had a story. They worked hard to figure it out, and it wasn't gender specific. It wasn't a boys' cartoon or a girls' cartoon or any of those things.
It was a talking dog, you know what I mean?
Okay, I need to get that on a t-shirt.
It was a talking dog, you know what I mean?
Now, I know I might seem like I'm just goofing around, but I genuinely love this film, and honestly, I think I've grown to appreciate it even more now compared to when I was a kid. I know it's not perfect, in fact, it's far from it, but somehow it's able to tell a rather complex story with all of the key elements that make Scooby-Doo so great, and I would almost go as far to say that it's kind of genius. And plus, you know, it's a talking dog. Although, despite the film's backlash, it did manage to get itself a sequel 2 years later, and oh boy, I was planning on talking about it in this video, but I think that the sequel deserves its own entire video, so you'll have to stay tuned, but spoiler alert, it's just as good, if not better than the first. But that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a big thumbs up if you want more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday.